The God 13-0'd 100 Thieves a few days ago, and in this video we're gonna take a look at how, obviously, at this top level of Valorant, a lot of things have to go your way to 13-0 a top team. And it did. Not only did the God play tactically better, but they also had players showing up. So let's take a look at the compositions. The God plays a fairly standard comp. The odd thing about the God's comp is that they have Sage, and I believe this Sage pick is directly to counter 100 Thieves comp, since the God has never played Sage on this map. 100 Thieves does have an unorthodox comp, and although there's a lot of mixed opinions about this comp, I do think it's a viable comp. But let's just ignore the opinions of if it's a good comp or not, and let's take a look at the strengths of the comp. So in theory, this comp is really good at taking map control. You have the dog, you have the drone, you have the camera, and more. And what map control really gains you is baiting out the enemy's utility, and doing that, it really messes with their rotations. You can set yourself up for a good mid-round call by doing that, and when you finally execute, the enemies shouldn't have that much utility left. So what are you missing with this comp? You're missing the dive factor, an agent who would be able to go past any of the enemy's utility. For instance, Jet, Raze, even Euro. So in the grand scheme of things, this isn't really a problem since you're always gonna play to your comp strengths. And in this case, it would be to do a lot of splits, since going through one choke point wouldn't be ideal. And the reason for that being is that one pull, one slow orb, or one killjoy molly could stop the entire push. If you had Jet for instance, that wouldn't be that big of a deal since the Jet could dash in, create a lot of space, and then the rest of the team could follow up. So from the God's point of view, before going into the game, they pretty much know how 100 Thieves are gonna play. 100 Thieves are pretty much unable to do any rushes unless they split from the middle of the map. And most likely, 100 Thieves are gonna play very slow for map control most of the rounds. Knowing this information, the God knows that they have to play somewhat disruptive. And since the God only have single info, being the Sova, whereas 100 Thieves has both Sova and Sky, the God knows they have to utilize the Sage Wall to the fullest. And the Sage Wall in this case is being used as an information tool on the defense. With all this information, let's now take a look at some rounds. For the very first round here in the game, we already see a lot of things that we're gonna see throughout the whole game. So 100 Thieves starts out with some map control, pretty standard map control. They get middle, they get B main. Then they go back to mid, and Sire players just peeking out, being disruptive, getting a nice early entry kill. And in the meantime, Jonah P has put his wall up on A short, and this wall we will see a lot throughout the game. We can also see that 100 Thieves don't really care about the wall, they don't want to break it. Again, we'll see this throughout the game as well, that 100 Thieves just ignores the wall. This makes somewhat sense, because they can take map control elsewhere, and then whenever the wall breaks naturally, they can come back and take short. A massive downside though with ignoring the wall every round is that the enemies are gonna stack elsewhere. And we'll see an example of this later in the game, where 100 Thieves ignores the Sage Wall on short, and they get punished elsewhere on the map because the God can comfortably stack it. But anyways, the pistol round goes to the God comfortably, since Sire got the entry kill and it was a 5v4. And there was just not much to do for 100 Thieves when the God had such a good setup on A in a 5v4 situation. Now, let's quickly take a look at one of the most important rounds, the first buy round. So we see here in B main that Sire player gets an insane shot on Baby J, and then he gets another headshot on Asuna. And from here, it's a pretty difficult round from 100 Thieves and they just crumble. I don't necessarily think 100 Thieves played this round bad. It might be a bit questionable what Baby J did in B main, when you think about the risk versus reward, but I think it was a pretty good reaction from 100 Thieves to try to split B fast after Baby J died. So here on round 6, 100 Thieves are on a save. Asuna actually manages to get the entry kill with his chamber operator, and then I just want to show an example of how difficult it is for 100 Thieves to get out on a side. So Sire player gets the first kill here on Baby J after a questionable jump spot, and then from this point, if you have an agent who can dash out or satchel out, it puts so much pressure on Sire player because he has to look towards stairs. But when there's no one to create that space, Sire player can easily focus on the angle and get another easy kill. Here in the next round, I want to showcase a pretty major misplay by 100 Thieves. So the round starts out really well for 100 Thieves. The trades are going in their favor. And then I think the call they're making is not bad at all. They want to fake B with Seekers and then go AS3. The problem here though is that the fake is happening way too soon. And as you can see, the God are actually rotating off super early because they realize it's a fake. And because of this early rotation and the killjoy ult, the God manages to win this round. You could argue, why didn't 100 Thieves just group up as 4 when there were only 3 the God players alive? That would also be a good option, but what happens often in games like this is that the enemies who are in a man disadvantage are gonna push an area. Therefore, it can be worth it to have a player on the opposite side of where the team is actually going. So in the next round again here, we'll see the Sage Wall being used on short, which the God has done a couple of times so far this game. And as I mentioned earlier, 100 Thieves are just gonna ignore it. They're gonna take map control of B main, they're gonna take map control of mid. But the problem here in the late round becomes that since Sire player has been on short the entire round, the God are actually 3 people towards B because they have this information on short. If only 100 Thieves had pushed Sire player back at some point in the round to Garden instead of D-Bay short, the God wouldn't be able to play 3B here when 100 Thieves finally executed. But the fact that they never pushed the short player back made the God have a pretty easy read that they were actually going B. Another important detail to take a look at is that 100 Thieves didn't actually split B. They had 1 lurker and then went 4 B main. And as mentioned earlier, it's really difficult to get out B main with this comp, or any chokes for that matter. So in my opinion, the right play would have been to have at least 2 players mid, maybe 3, to be able to split the side. So this round the God does the Sage Wall again on A short, and at this point in the game the God has figured out that 100 Thieves likes to play for mid control, so the Sage Wall on short as well as the turret in B that spots the B main allows 3 players from the God to take a fight together in middle, which again illustrates how well the God uses their utility for information. And not only that, they're also capitalizing off the information so well. So to wrap up, 100 Thieves obviously didn't play great, and they didn't necessarily play to their strengths, but regardless I think the God deserves massive credit for how they played this game. And that pretty much wraps up the videos and my points. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to leave some feedback so I can create some better videos in the future. And yeah, see you.
Trent and Valinor getting kills, a 4v1, a statement from the guard, 13-0 over 100 Thieves.